Welcome to the Living the Dream podcast with Curveball. If you believe, you can achieve. Welcome to the Living the Dream with Curveball podcast, a show where I interview guests that teach, motivate, and inspire. Today, I am joined by CPA, life coach, attorney, and multi-book author, Stanley Bronstein. Stanley has two big missions. He focuses on helping people achieve their maximum potential and helping those who need it to lose weight by doing sustainable lifestyle changes without needing any drugs or surgery. So we're going to be talking to him about everything that he's up to and going to be up to and how he's helping people. So Stanley, thank you for joining me.
Thank you very much.
Why don't you start off by telling everybody a little bit about yourself?
Okay, I'll give you the quick version of my story. Uh, my mother died when I was 8, and needless to say, that messed with my head. And I was living with my massively obese father, and we just ate ourselves to oblivion. And if you look back at all the pictures from the time I was 8, I just started getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. By the time I went to college, I was, you know, high 200s. Um, later on after college, I got all the way up to 367 pounds at one time. And I'm only 5'7", 5'8", so I was a pretty big boy, needless to say. Um, I had times where I would lose weight, but then I'd go back to my old habits and I'd put the weight back on, lose weight, put it back on, lose weight, put it back on. As I was getting ready to turn 50 years old, which was 17 years ago, I started asking myself, where am I going to be in 5 years if I don't make some changes to my life? And at the time, I was 320 pounds. I wasn't at my max of 367, but I was 320. So I said, where am I going to be in 5 years if I don't make any changes? And I did not like the answer because, to be quite frank with you, the answer was I was going to be dead. And I didn't want to be dead. I hadn't had a stroke yet, hadn't had a heart attack yet. Legs and knees didn't give out yet. All these things were coming, but they hadn't happened yet. So I said, this is ridiculous. I'm wasting my potential here. I can be so much more than I am. And mind you, I was already an attorney and a CPA. So in many areas, people would say, hey, I was pretty successful. But in terms of taking care of my body, I was not successful at all. So I turned to my wife and I told her, I'm cooked. I'm done. No more. I'm going to start learning to eat better right now. I'm going to start learning to exercise right now. I'm going to start trying to walk every day. And my exercise of choice is going to be walking. I picked walking because you didn't need a lot of special equipment. You could do it pretty much anywhere you were at. It made a lot of sense to me to just pick something that was easy like that. So right away, first thing I did was I quit drinking alcohol, cold turkey. And I won't say I was an alcoholic, but I will definitely say I was drinking too much. And so I just said, no more alcohol. Alcohol doesn't serve me. I'm serving it. So I don't need it. I'm done with it. I also quit drinking soda pop. Those 2-liter bottles of Diet Pepsi, I was drinking 3 of those a day. I quit drinking those. And I quit eating beef and pork. And for me, I grew up as my father was a butcher. And for me to quit eating beef and pork, that was a pretty big deal, but I quit. And I started walking, not always every day because in the beginning my legs and knees hurt. It was hard for me to walk up and down the street. I was huffing and puffing. I did a lot of my walking in a pool because it was easier on my legs to sit there and do that. But I kept going and kept going and kept going. Um, It was not a straight line experience. I had good days, I had bad days. But the important thing is that unlike what I had done in the past, I did not quit. If I had a bad day, I just picked myself up the next day and said, I'm going to have a good day today. So that's an important lesson right there. Get started and don't quit. If you get started and don't quit, eventually you're going to get where you want to go. It's the don't quitting that is the important part. And along the way, I changed my dietary habits. I eventually went vegetarian where I quit eating chicken and turkey. And then about 8 years ago, I gave up bread, butter, cheese, and ice cream. And when I gave up that bread, butter, cheese, and ice cream, I lost 50 pounds in like 5 minutes. I'm not kidding you. The weight just came off of me really fast because by that time, I was doing a lot of walking. And when I say a lot of walking, I mean 10 to 15 miles a day, a lot of walking. Um, I've gone from a person who could barely walk up and down the street to a person who walks 10 to 15 miles every day. Um, so the moral of that story is that get started, keep going, and there's something that I call beat yesterday. You have one goal. Your goal is to beat yesterday. Be better today than you were yesterday. Be better tomorrow than you were today. If you do that, over time, just like compound interest in the bank, which you are, it will grow. And I mean, I am in year 17 of beating yesterday. That is why today, 17 years later, the person I am today is nothing like the person I was 17 years ago. I mean, literally nothing like that person. The experience of doing this taught me three things. It taught me, one, that I'm more powerful than I ever imagined. I mean, I'm a pretty confident guy. I've been successful in business. I've got multiple degrees. I've got multiple designations. Yet, to be honest with you, the experience of losing that much weight and keeping it off and turning into a person who walks as much as I do and the transformation I went through, the experience blew my mind. I mean, seriously, it blew my mind. So I learned I am more powerful than I ever imagined. The second thing I learned is that if I could do this, what else is out there waiting for me to do that I haven't done yet? And that's what you and I are going to be talking about in a few minutes when we talk about my system. And then the third thing is that if I am more powerful than I ever imagined, so is everybody else. I am no more special than you. You are no more special than me. I am no more special than your listeners. Your listeners are no more special than me. We are all special, each and every one of us. You, me, all your listeners, we are all more powerful than we ever imagined. Know it, believe it, feel it, live it. That's what you want to do. And so I'm a systems thinker. As I was going through this experience, I put what I was doing into a system. I created a system that other people could use to change their lives in their own way. I'm not, the system is not designed to turn you into another Stanley. The world already has one Stanley, it doesn't need another one. But the system is designed to help you become the best you that you can be and that you want to be. It's to help you get from where you are to where you want to be. And the system, as I was developing it, I was coming up with names for it. And I realized something. The system is not about perfection. Perfection does not exist. That should not be our goal. We are all human beings. We are all imperfect. None of us are perfect. We're never going to be perfect. So, and that's okay. We're human beings, but we can try to be excellent instead. Just get better every single day. Better and better and better. Better today than you were yesterday. Better tomorrow than you were today. Just beat yesterday and keep moving. So the system I came up with, the name I came up with was called The Way of Excellence. And I asked myself, what are 20 characteristics of people who are excellent? And I came up with things like awareness. They always tell themselves the truth. They're long-term thinkers. They worry more about what their life's going to be like in the long term and focus less on short-term gratification. They take personal responsibility. They don't blame other people. And while they're at it, they don't even blame themselves. They just figure out what needs to be done and they fix the problem. They embrace change. They're not afraid of change. They're willing to change because anyone, if you want your life to get better, if you want the world to get better, something's got to change. That's just the way it is. They focus on possibilities, on positive possibilities, how great their life can be, how great this world can be, how great their community can be. They focus on those things. They have a different perspective than others. They realize that breathing, working, eating healthy, exercising, helping others, all of those things are a privilege. They're not obligations. We don't have to do anything. We get to do these things. They're good for us. They help people. They're visionary thinkers. They figure out what their passions are and they work to put something in place that follows their passion. They're givers. They give first, knowing that if enough people give, someone eventually is going to give something to you. So they give as well. They use their time, resources, and energy wisely. If they run across someone who wastes their time and energy, they stop doing business with them. They stop dealing with them. They they figure and they stop wasting their own time. I used to waste my time all the time. I'd sit on my butt. I'd watch too much TV. I spent too much time on the internet. Instead, I decided I would limit those things, not eliminate them, but limit them so that I could have more time to do the things I want to do. They take action that's consistent with their goals. For all these years, I said I wanted to lose weight and get in shape, and then I'd go to Chinese buffets and sit on my butt. The actions I was taking were not consistent with my goals. If I wanted to lose weight and get healthy, I needed to start eating better and start exercising, walking, doing whatever. So I started taking actions consistent with my goals. They're persistent. They keep going no matter how long it takes. They just keep going, keep going, keep going. If they fall down, they get back up. They have integrity. They're kind people. They're helping people. They act with integrity, even if no one's looking. They want to live a life that's full of integrity. They want to live a good life. And so they do those things. They respect. They have respect for themselves. They have respect for others. And even if sometimes the others don't deserve respect, they respect them anyway because giving respect to others is a measure of who you are, not a measure of who they are. You give respect because you are a person who gives respect. They learn to think win-win. They're win-win thinkers. I don't need to beat you down in order to be successful. I don't need to crush you in order to be successful. There are ways that both of us can help each other and both of us can be successful. So they learn to think win-win. They create balance in their lives. Um, and by balance, I mean you identify everything that's deficient in your life. In my case, I wasn't eating enough good food. I was sitting on my butt too much. So you increase those things. You start eating more healthy food. You start getting off your butt and exercising. They identify what's excessive. I was drinking too much, so I quit drinking. I was eating too much crappy food, so I started eating no crappy food and started eating healthy food. All those things. So you figure out what's excessive, what's deficient and increase it, what's excessive and decrease it. Then they're willing. They're willing to put in the work. They're willing to do what it takes to change for the rest of their lives. Not for a week, not for a month, not for a year, but every day for the rest of their lives. They they believe in themselves. They believe in their abilities, their talents, and their ideas. I just told your listeners when I started that I learned that every single person is more powerful than they ever imagined. Well, start believing it because, like you said at the beginning of the program, believe it. If you believe you can, or you said it differently, but if you believe you can or you believe you can't, either way, you're going to be right. So you might as well believe you can. And then they develop self discipline. They figure out what all their negative habits are and they get rid of them. They break their negative habits and they figure out what positive habits they need to put in place are and they start creating new positive habits. So that's building self discipline. Then they make a commitment to themselves. Because when you become 100% committed to something, it becomes much easier to do. For example, I am 100% committed that no unhealthy food will ever enter my mouth. If somebody wants to give me cookies or something like or cake or some pie or something like that, I'm not going to eat it. I don't even ask myself, should I eat it? Because if I ask myself, should I eat it, sometimes I'm going to give the wrong answer and I'm going to say, yeah, I should eat it because it won't hurt me. Instead, I made a decision many years ago that no unhealthy food is going to enter my mouth. So when someone puts that food in front of me, I don't eat it. It's that simple. Walking, I walk every day. I made a decision many years ago that I'm going to walk every day. And by walking every day, I mean that I'm going to walk at least 2 hours a day, every day. And if you go back the last 12 years, I have walked 2 hours or more every day except for 3 days 8 years ago when I was sick as a dog. I didn't walk those days. So you become committed. And the last thing is their mind, body, and spirit work together. In the beginning, all my energy went into my mind and I was neglecting my body and it was hurting my spirit, my energy. When I started focusing more on my body, I learned that started helping my mind as well. It would clear my mind. It would give me more energy, more power. It helped my spirit. So their mind, body, and spirit all work together. Now, this whole system, it sounds like a lot, and it is, but it isn't. This whole system is available on my website. I have videos that cover each and every one of those points. I have 7 of my books. They're all available for free for digital download. You can download them from our website for free. You don't even have to sign up for my email list if you don't want to get the books. They're there for free because I want to help people. I have been blessed. I am privileged to have the life that I have, and it is my privilege to help other people. So I make this available to people for free. If someone wants to work with me directly, or they want to join a group of people who want to work with me directly, they can do that. Just send me an email from the website. But those options cost money. But if you want to download the books for free or watch the videos for free, it doesn't cost you anything. So, choice is yours. You can do whatever you want, but it's all there. Does all that make sense, Curtis?
It makes absolute sense. And if people understood that you don't have to crush other people or beat them down to be successful, the world would be a better place. But let's talk about the most thing that people misunderstand about weight loss.
Well, first of all, there's a lot of bad weight loss advice out there. There's a lot of bad advice about what proper nutrition is. Even a lot of doctors, and I'm not trying to diss doctors, don't get me wrong, but even a lot of doctors don't know what healthy nutrition is. And there are a lot of doctors out there who are selling people poor nutrition all because they want to make money. Now, the reason why a lot of doctors don't know about nutrition is it's not taught in medical school. And that's not the doctor's fault. Medical schools are just starting to teach more about nutrition. But the amount of time they spend in medical school on nutrition is so small It's really not funny. So they don't know. There's a lot of poor information, a lot of poor ideas out there. And they're all these food companies, they just want to sell us stuff. They want to make money off of us. They create all this food, it tastes good, and they tell you it's good. The English language is a funny thing. Something might be good because it tastes good, but it's horrible because it's unhealthy. But they say it's good. I mean, just they'll tell you something's organic. Oh, so that means it must be good. Well, a pile of dog poo poo is organic. Doesn't mean you need to be eating it. Um, so there's a lot of things out there. Bad information, bad advice. All these drug companies, they want to sell us weight loss drugs. Um, I personally, I will work with people and support people who want to take the weight loss drugs, but I do not believe in them. I don't think it's necessary. I have seen too many people lose weight without taking the drugs. I'm not a big fan of weight loss surgery either. I've seen a lot of people who have weight loss surgery who regretted it afterwards because when you have the surgery, one of two things happens. You either go back to your old habits, in which case, you're not going to get anywhere and the weight's going to come back on, but you've had surgery, or they totally change their life and they've stayed successful and they go, well, heck, if I would have changed my life like this before I had the surgery, I wouldn't have needed the surgery. So, so I'm not a fan of that. I think successful weight loss is all it's 90% between our ears. It's what we tell ourselves, it's what we think. So I teach people that you can lose weight through proper nutrition. And by that, I mean, you know, reduce the amount of meat, animal products, and dairy in your diet. I personally have eliminated all the animal products and dairy in my diet, but you don't have to do that if you don't want to. As I said, you don't have to be another Stanley. But the less animal products you eat, the less dairy you eat, the more grains, nuts, seeds, fruits, vegetables, things like that you eat, the healthier you're gonna be. You know, it really is that simple. And walking every day. The American College of Sports Medicine recommends that people get aerobic exercise for 150 minutes a week. I tell people if you walk, we'll just go for a 20-minute walk every day. That's 140 minutes. That's close enough. You're meeting the daily recommendation. That's all you need to do. And I mean, think about this. Let me ask you this. If people would eat just a little bit healthier, just a little bit, if they would stop eating late at night, say cut off at 6 or 7 o'clock and don't eat past 6 or 7 o'clock at night, and they would walk 20 minutes a day, do you think the world would be healthier or sicker?
I
What
think
do
it
you
was
think?
healthier.
Yeah, that's all I'm asking. That's what I'm suggesting. Just learn to eat a little bit better. Walk 20 minutes a day. You'll be so much healthier. It's not even funny. I mean, I just had my physical yesterday and I got my blood work back. I'm 66 years old and my blood work and my numbers are better than most 30-year-olds. I mean, I'm in fantastic shape, and like I said, I feel blessed. But I've worked hard at it too. But I'm also lucky. I have good genes and that kind of thing. But it's what you do. And another thing is, it's never too late to change. You know when it's too late to change? It's too late to change when you're dead. If you're not dead yet, it's not too late to change. Plain and simple. But you have to be willing to do it. You have to believe you can do it. You have to be willing to eliminate your old habits and put new habits in place, good habits in place, and you have to make a commitment. You do that, it's not nearly as hard as you think it is.
Well, let's talk about the £1 million weight loss challenge. Who did you make it for, and why did you make it free?
Okay. I created a website called the millionpoundweightloschallenge.com. It's millionpoundweightloschallenge.com. That's the URL. It I want to help people learn what I've learned and I want to help people lose weight. I think that's one of the reasons I am on the face of this earth is to help people learn what I've learned. That's what gives me joy to help others. So I created it. I made it free. First of all, for several reasons. One, not everyone has money. Two, a lot of people aren't going to get started if they have to spend money. Although it's a funny thing, I've learned that people actually, things they get for free, they don't value as much as things they pay for. It's kind of funny, but that tends to be the way it is. But that's why I made it for free. You know, you can get started for free. If you want to work with me privately, I'll be more than happy to work with you privately, but it's going to cost you money. But you don't have to unless you want to. I want you to get started. I want you to get going. I want you to change your life. So I said, I like dreaming big, hairy goals. So I said, let's go for 50,000 people who need to lose 20 or more pounds each. That would be 50,000 times 20. That's 1,000,000 pounds. So I called it the £1,000,000 weight loss challenge. That's the goal, is to get people to do that. Now, if you go to that website, it's free, but you do have to register. You have to create an account. It's free, but you have to create it. And the reason why I did that is I want to be able to regulate who goes on the site because I wanted the site to be a safe space for overweight and obese people. The last thing I want to do is create a website where trolls could go on there and start giving people a hard time who were trying to change their lives. So I didn't want to do that. So I'm proud to say the site's been going for 7 or 8 months. I've got 4,800 members. About 1,000 of them are outside the United States. They're literally all over the world. Um, there's no spam going on the site. Um, Keep it clean. It's all good information. It's all good stuff to help people. And that's what the goal is. Because, like you said, Curtis, if we all would learn to help each other and care about each other, be a better place. I mean, that's what I think the number one problem in the world is today is that all too often, all too many of us only care about ourselves. And to make it even worse, we do a pretty poor job of caring about ourselves. And but I believe we can do better, and I believe we're in the process of learning.
Let's take a quick break.
Okay, everybody, it's Michael E. Cullen II.
And I'm Sesame and Carta from the All Too Real 2 podcast. We're passionate about movies, TV, and pretty much all things pop culture.
Dive into the chaos of failed sitcoms, direct-to-video sequels, and the quirky realms of cinema and TV.
Join us every Thursday for your dose of All Too Real 2 entertainment.
We'll guide you through debates like whether Howard the Duck qualifies as a superhero.
Ponder if Larry the Cable Guy could be the new Rock or Schwarzenegger.
Discover if some shows and movies should have stayed in the cutting room.
Ever heard of a sitcom featuring that dictator with the funny mustache? Well, we watched it.
We're dedicated to unraveling the peculiarities of pop culture, sometimes with awesome guests.
So, if you're into the eccentric world of pop culture,
listen and subscribe to All Too Real 2.
Available wherever you find podcasts
and on Age of Radio.
To do better. I think there is hope in the world. And I think people like you who are interviewing people to put out a positive message, you're doing good. What you're doing is a good thing. Please keep it up.
Well, I definitely appreciate it. So talk to the listeners about your books, tell us what we can expect when we read them and what we can
Okay, the first book, when you go to the website, it's going to give you 4 ways to get started, 4 paths to go through the system. You can pick whichever one of them. But it is the first main book is called The Way of Excellence Journal. It is an interactive PDF. You download it and you can sit there and it asks you questions and takes you through the system, and you can type if you put it on your desktop computer or your tablet, you can type your answers into the system and save the file and you'll have your answers. So it's like writing in the book, but it takes you through the whole system. It's got lots of pictures, lots of charts, lots of graphs. It's very interactive, very quick read, enjoyable read. Then that grew into a couple of outlets. One's called The Way of You, which is breaks a person's journey into 3 steps. The first one is finding you. Who are you? You know, seriously, who are you? A lot of people don't know the answer to that. Then there's becoming you. How do you go from who the person you are to the person you want to be? And then there's optimizing you, which is once you are where you want to be, how do you get even better? So there's finding you, becoming you, optimizing you. And then I took that and made a book called The Way of Us, which is talking about our groups, our communities, our world. And it's finding us, becoming us, and optimizing us. How do we get better and better and better? So that's that. I then created a book on AI called The Way of AI. And the reason why is I think AI is being misused in a lot of ways. And I had a statement I wanted to make. AI is our child. We are AI's parents. We are raising AI, and we need to be very careful how we raise AI because we are teaching AI how to think, how to believe, how to act, and how to treat us later on. I think, back when Siri first came out and Alexa first came out, I think that Amazon and Apple missed the boat. They did something really wrong. I actually wrote to Amazon and I never heard back from them. When I first got my first Alexa, I said, you should have the system give you points for saying please and thank you, teaching you manners, saying please and thank you. The system should give you points, and when you accumulate enough points, you get a discount on the next thing you buy. Something like that. Teaching, encouraging people to have good behavior. Instead, a lot of people yell at their AI. They misuse the AI. They make demands of their AI. Whenever I'm working on Chat GPT or Gemini, I always say please and thank you. If it does a good job, I tell it you did a really good job. I sit there. If it does a bad job, I say that didn't work out right. Let's work together. Let me help you understand what I was looking for so that you can do it better in the future. I don't yell at it. I mean, I don't get me wrong, I get frustrated with it, but I don't yell at it. So, I think we need to change the way we deal with that. I wrote a book called The Way of Constant and Never-Ending Improvement, which talked about that beat yesterday concept that I was telling you about. And constant and never-ending improvement, that's an abbreviation for it, CANI, can I. Can you constantly and never-endingly improve? And the answer is yes, you can. Then I have the way of simplicity. How do we live lives that are simpler? Um, people, I believe life is simple. People make it complicated, and I don't think we need to do that. I think we should always be looking for the simplest solution that gets the job done in an excellent manner. Not a perfect solution, just a simple solution that gets the job done in an excellent manner. So that's what I talked about. That's mostly what's all on the website. All those books are there. They're all available for free. They're good reads. I would love for you to read them. If you want to talk to me about them, there's a uh, contact us form at the bottom of the page. You can click on it, goes to the contact form. You can send me a message. Love to talk to you. If you want to work with me privately or join one of my groups, send me a note through the system, and we can go from there. But that's what the books are all about.
Well, tell us about any upcoming projects that you're working on that listeners need to be aware of.
You mean that's not enough? uh, well, what's going on right now is in the coming months, I'm going to reactivate my 2 YouTube channels. Um, the One of them's called The Way of Excellence, and the other one's Million Pound Weight Loss Challenge. Um, I'll be reactivating both of those, and I plan on interviewing great guests like your host, Curtis, and getting these great guests and discussing all these things we talked about so that we can get other people's opinions, other people's perspectives, because I believe the solution to the world is for all of us, each and every one of us, as Gandhi said, to be the change we see in the world, we want to see in the world. Starts with us. We can make it happen. That's what I think. That's what's going on with me.
So your website is millionpoundweightlosschallenge.com, right?
That's one of the websites, and the other one is that's the weight loss website. The other website is thewayofexcellence.com. That's thewayofexcellence.com, and I'm typing it in the chat for you right now, Curtis, so you have it.
Perfect. We'll close this out with some final thoughts. Maybe if there was something I forgot to talk about that you would like to touch on, or any final thoughts you have for the listeners.
I think it pretty much covers it. I mean, I'm here to help, just as I know your host Curtis is here to help. We all want the world to be a better place, and we're here to help.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, so go check out everything Stanley's up to. If you know anybody that wants or needs to lose weight without any drugs or surgery, share this episode to as many people as possible. Also, if you want more information or you want to keep up with the Living the Dream with Curveball podcast, please visit www.curveball337.com. Go sign up for that new email list we just launched. And thank you for listening and supporting the show. And Stanley, thank you for all that you do, and thank you for joining me.
Thank you.
For more information on the Living the Dream with Curveball podcast, visit www.curveball337.com. Until next time, keep living the dream.